Hello! I'm not gonna make any more promises kasi obviously I haven't been really able to keep it. For the past 3 weeks actually, panay labas ako. Although not all of it is gig related. Although some of it is band related. Pero yeah, I'm back now. I really do want to be consistent, so that's just a battle that I'll be having with myself, I guess. So the band I'm in, Better Days, just recently released an EP called What Comes After. Ako nakaisip ng title, by the way. Lumabas siya noong February 28, and the EP contains 5 songs, 4 of which is ako yung nagsulat. And I want to make sort of like a breakdown, kind of like a song spotlight for each of these songs because I'm really proud of my babies and I'm proud of what they've become with the help of like my bandmates and our producers. And each song is very close to my heart, very proud of them. I'm going to be discussing the songs in chronological order of when I wrote them. So ganun ko na lang siya gagawin. So I'm gonna be starting from the earliest song I wrote to the latest song. Before I get to the first song, please consider subscribing and commenting whatever your favorite song sa EP is and why. I love to interact with you guys and the algorithm likes it. I really want to take this seriously, tong YouTube thing, because I really enjoy making videos and really like watching YouTube. That would be very much appreciated if you guys like and subscribe. So yeah, number 1 is Suzy. Miss Suzy started from Leve's song, Magnolia. I remember this was the first time I was hearing a Leve song. I think the first song, I'm not sure if it was like the movies or Magnolia, pero it's one of those two. Pero this song specifically is heavily inspired by Magnolia. And when I was writing the song, I didn't really imagine the song to be in a full band setting. I just imagined it to be with me and an acoustic guitar. Miss Suzy, your beauty's like the evening sky. So the demo that I had and the one that I had on Spotify and SoundCloud was this version. And ayun yung binigay ko na demo sa management namin. And they really liked it. So the song Magnolia tackles Leve's perspective of a girl named Magnolia, who's like this epitome of womanhood. She's beautiful, everybody loves her, she's graceful, and mabango siya. Lahat ng gusto mo sa babae, as a babae, ganun siya. I was really happy when I was listening to the song kasi I really enjoyed appreciation of beauty. And then by around the pre-chorus, chorus-esque part of the song, it gets a bit sad. It gets very envious and insecure. So Leve talks about how she wishes she was Magnolia and how she's never gonna be as beautiful as Magnolia is. And it's a very sad song. Not to say that sad songs are bad songs. I still love this song. This song is beautiful and I love it very much. But I wanted a version of it where it's more so just appreciating someone else's beauty. And that's how Miss Suzy came to be. When I was writing the song, I made it same na 3-4 yung song. I needed to base it off of someone. If you guys have talked to like songwriters before, it's very hard to write a song about something that there's no like real life thing for you to base it off of. No matter how weird it is, it's much easier to make a song if there's something in real life where you can base it off of. And that was the case for me. I remember this was during the pandemic online class era. Miss Suzy is a real person and she's my classmate, not my teacher. A lot of people approach me asking if Miss Suzy is my teacher because of the fact na there's a miss sa simula. Ang nai-imagine ko dito parang medieval era, sort of like princess type si Miss Suzy. So the song has a fairly simple chord progression. So for the verse, it just goes from 1 and then sharp 1 diminished to the 4 and then minor 4. At least that's how I wrote the verse. I'll explain the changes that happened to the actual song recording later. The chorus just circles through the circle of fifths. Circles through the circle of fifths. Wow. So it just goes from the 3, 6, and then 2, 5, but never actually resolving to 1. Every other repetition of the chord progression, the 6 becomes a dominant. If you've listened to a lot of popular jazz music, ayun talaga yung gamit. And I don't think I am a jazz musician, pero ayun, dun ako na-inspire sa sort of that kind of chord progression. When we were jamming out the song, napansin ko na doon sa minor 4, if you add a 9 to it, it's actually a flat 6, if I'm remembering correctly. Flat 6, major 7 chord. So, naisip ko, instead of the typical 4, minor 4, we would go 4 to the flat 6. Major flat 6. And then Nigel thought it was cool to sort of like climb from the flat 6 to the flat 7 to the 1. So it goes from C to D to E. So it's just a whole tone na movement, pero all of those are major 7 chords. It's like a slight, very, very slight variation of the superhero chords that I feel like a lot of people are familiar with. And we weren't really conscious of this, na sikat siya as a superhero chord progression nung ginagawa namin to. And I guess that's the beauty of like making chords and jamming in real time. You're basing it off of like how it sounds and how you feel about it. And then yung explanation, like theory explanation and like learning about it afterwards comes second. Tapos, you can use it as a toolkit kasi ngayon, alam mo na yon and you know how it works, and now you can use it for other songs that you're gonna write or like other arrangements that you're gonna be a part of. For the chorus, we just made it fairly simple. Ganun lang rin kung ano yung naririnig nyo, ayan rin yung sinulat ko. Number 2, Unahan. So my first motivator for writing this song was mainly to just make a song na gustong tugtugin ng mga kabanda ko. The type of song na kapag, tara, anong tutugtugin natin ngayon? And then if I say Unahan, they will say, yes, gusto kong tugtugin yung Unahan kasi masaya siya tugtugin. That was my first motivator. And that's why yung arrangement, I sort of had like a really solid skeleton of what the song, what the song's arrangement was gonna be. The song is very much heavily inspired sa experience ko sa pagiging commuter sa Pilipinas, specifically sa Floodway/Rosario traffic jam. And if any one of you know what I'm talking about, alam nyo kung gaano kahirap at gaano ka-stressful mag-commute dito sa area na to. Specifically, this is probably the most lyrically dense song that I've made. It's a song about commuting, but it doesn't explicitly show that it is about commuting, and I'm really proud of it. So I want to do a lyrics breakdown, sort of like genius episode, Nimski genius episode. Start with verse 1. So this was around the time nung senior high school to college. I think I was in 11th grade nung nasisimulan kong ma-experience to. Pero na-experience ko rin siya when I was in 8th grade nung lumipat kami dito sa Cainta. Since ako ay taga Cainta at papasok pa ako sa Manila, maaga akong gumigising. I get to Floodway, tas naghihintay ako ng bus, wala pang araw. And then, sa tagal ng paghihintay ko, makikita mo na yung araw na sumisikat habang naghihintay ka ng masasakyan. Sikat ng araw is just basically that kasi I can see the sun rising while I'm waiting for whatever I'm gonna be riding that day. And the people around me, kapag naghihintay ako, syempre sila rin naghihintay. I sort of like see them as mga kalaban ko kasi nag-uunahan kami basically makasakay sa bus or sa jeep na sasakyan namin. And a lot of these people, I know for a fact na mas onti pa yung pahinga nila kumpara sa akin kasi ako estudyante lang ako. Most of the people na makakasabay ko is yes, estudyante rin, pero most of them are workers as well. That's the point of like nagbigay yung pahinga ko ay nagbigay pugay sa mga kalaban. Ihip ng hangin pertains to the smell that you will experience kasi marami kang makakasabay doon na papasok pa lang amoy pauwi na. It's not a very pleasant smell and masasanay ka na lang sa sobrang dami ng taong taong sumasakay dito sa area na to. Usually, may mga mga desperado na makasakay kasi alam nila malalate na sila. At sisiksik talaga nila yung sarili nila sa loob ng bus na halatang punong-puno na parang sardinas na sila. So nagsisiksikan sila and may mga times na hindi na ako lumalaban. Ayoko na, hindi na. Sige na, mauna na kayo. Alas 7 pa naman yung pasok ko. Sa area na to, maraming yung mga tao na nasa gilid tapos sumisigaw, kumaw. Ortigas. Makati, Ayala. Sobrang maingay, tas marami rin mga kotse. Syempre, kapag traffic, marami bumubusina. This pre-chorus also talks about how time doesn't really wait for anyone, no matter who you are. And that's what I wanted to put through dito sa pre-chorus na to. And then the chorus is fairly simple. I sort of wanted to make a chorus na may pagka-camaraderie-esque yung vibe. So parang sumama ka na sa akin, tatahakin natin kinabukasan. Pero it's still mainly about like just racing through time and trying to get ahead of everyone else kasi malilate ka na. Verse 2. Ito may slap bass. Solid. Pretty much the same with the first verse. So silip ng ilaw pertains to the sun that blinds you basically kapag naabutan ka na ng sikat ng araw dun sa area na yon. So marami kang makakalaban, maraming makikipag-unahan sa'yo. Kailangan lumaban ka kasi kapag nagpatalo ka, malilate ka. And that's been my experience sa Floodway. Pre-chorus and chorus just goes again. Pero may second part ng chorus which is another version of what the first chorus is. Sumama ka na sa akin kaibigan kahit may pumigil sa ating pagtahak, di na matatalo ng oras, wag ka nang tumigil. Ako'y nandito lang. This song is very close to my heart. It very much talks about this experience na sobrang integral sa pagiging schoolboy ko. I love this song very much. And I love what it turned out to be. Unlike Miss Suzy, the chords sa unahan is just the same all throughout. So it's in the key of E minor, which is very familiar. Chords go from E minor to B minor, C major, and then A minor. And then just loops the entire time. Ayun yung binigay kong demo. Naglo-loop lang yung chord progression. And then nagkaroon kami ng mga variations na ito. So si Kuya Jazz, he does something a little different na sinasabayan ko right after the first chorus. He goes from E minor to B minor, to B flat minor, to A minor. So may passing chord. And then goes to D7, and then D sharp, and then goes back to E. So if you trace that sa guitar mo, it's basically like a box, and it's really fun to play. Kahit sa keyboard, it just adds a little bit of a chromaticism sa chord progression, and it's really groovy, and I really like it. So while we were jamming the song, si Nigel made like a little musical joke of putting yung chords ng American Boy sa unahan. Instead of the chords being in E minor, it's in E major. I still haven't gone out to understand how these chords work. So I'm just gonna relay the chords, tapos kayo na bahala mag-decipher nito. In one bar of the chorus, sa last chorus na kakantahin namin, instead of the chords that we've been playing for the past, for the entire song, ang nagiging chord progression niya is E major. Wait lang So it goes from E major 7 to C major 7 to A minor, and then a passing chord from F major 7 back to E minor. It's really dark, and it's really like, I don't know how to explain it. It floats, I guess. Para siyang it's lifting you up. And I tried to accentuate this by using my pads in a higher octave para mas marinig talaga. And then Kuya Jazz does like a really cool lick there. So I really like the idea of a guitar lick being a hook as well, na parang umuulit siya all throughout the song. So yung guitar solo ni Nigel sa simula, maulit siya sa after ng chorus and then after ng last chorus. Para siyang naging hook na in and of itself other than the chorus. And then, I also wanted slap bass. So, nag-request ako, or this arrangement na sinan ko, may slap bass sa verse 2 habang kumakanta ako. And if you guys notice rin, sa verse 1, si Nigel yung kumakanta, and verse 2, ako na yung kumakanta. And I thought that this song really strived in that kind of arrangement where dalawa yung kumakanta, because it's all about camaraderie and like magsama-sama tayo sort of like vibe yung binibigay ng kanta. So yeah, I love this song. It's very close to my heart. Let's go to song number 3. Song number 3, Only One in Love. So when I was writing this song, this was the first time I was writing with in mind boses ng ibang tao. Because for the most part, for all of the songs that I've written before, I always wrote it imagining my own voice singing it. First time kong magsulat ng kanta, trying to think of like areas where it would sound best for another person's voice, which is Nigel's voice. It's a very interesting like process or like change of pace, I guess. When I was writing this song, the song is about a friend of mine, and I'm not sure if I'm allowed to name drop this person. Pero sabihin ko na lang, papaalam ako kapag naka-censor yung pangalan niya, ibig sabihin nun hindi siya pumayag na i-name drop ko siya. Yung tropa ko, he was in a very toxic relationship, at least from the perspective that I got. I wanted to make a song for this friend of mine. Alam mo yung feeling na may tropa ka na nasa toxic relationship, tapos ikaw na magsabi, makipag-break ka na kasi. Sort of made the song in my friend's shoes, breaking up with his girlfriend. Ang drummer namin is si Kuya Rem of the Vowels de Orbit. I do hear it with other drummers, pero I hear it the best when he's playing it, and I really wanted to utilize this sort of like pattern, sort of this swingy type of pattern na ginagawa niya, specifically sa Celos and most of their songs sa Vowels de Orbit, and I really wanted to utilize this. Gusto kong gamitin ni Kuya Rem yung pattern niya na yon. The chords of this song is pretty interesting, I will say. It's like the first time I used these chords sa songwriting ko. Yung verse at saka yung parang instrumental. It just goes from the 1 to the 2. I remember specifically gravitating to this type of groove kasi it's very simple. It's just 2 chords pero sobrang groovy niya. Sounds really cool without it being that complex. Narinig ko siya sa White Toyota ng Sunkist Lola, pero it goes from 2 to the 1. So I made it a bit different. So 1 to 2 yung ginawa namin. Dun sa sa chorus niya yung "Cause it's true, feel like I'm the only one in love." The way this song was recorded is a bit different with what I had in mind sa melody niya specifically. But anyways, so for the chorus ng song, I wanted to use a secondary dominant for the 6th. So the song is in the key of F major. It just goes from the F to the D minor, which is the 6th, or like the relative minor. I wanted to use a secondary dominant papunta dun sa 6. The song goes from the F and then passes through 2-5 ng 6, which is an E minor and then an A7 and then down to the D minor. So a secondary dominant, for you guys who don't know, a dominant chord that resolves to a chord other than the tonic. Ginugol ko yan. Since C D minor is a relative minor, it feels natural to go home sa 6 and then use a secondary dominant papunta dun sa 6. So I just used a basic 2-5-1 in the context of D major, pero it's in D minor. So I'm basically borrowing chords from different scales. I didn't know what this was or the theory behind it up until I saw a video about like secondary dominance. I'll try to look for the videos, lalagay ko siya dito. Pero I saw this video and then I realized how often I hear them and how often I've been playing them. And the song is very petty and very irritated, I guess. It's a very angry song and I really like it. It's the first time I made this kind of like groove and this kind of song. And I love how it turned out. Number 4, last song. Number 4, My Could Have Been. So My Could Have Been is a very weird song for me nung sinusulat ko siya. I remember being pressured. Walang ibang nag-pressure sa akin. Yung pressure lang nanggaling sa sarili ko. I was talking to Jim ng Hey June and tinanong ko siya, ilan yung nakabaon nyo na kanta? And then he gives me this insane number. Basta madami. It's like, what? How? Ako naman, parang na-pressure ako. Hala, kailangan ko rin magsulat. Alam mo yon? How is this person doing this and me not able to do it. So I tried to compensate for that. So My Could Have Been is one of those songs that I basically rushed. It's just a basic carbon copy of a song I made way back in like 2021, I think. 2020 or 2021, and it's a song called Back in Time. That was the first time na nalaman ko yung existence ni 251. So I just made like a carbon copy of that song. Medyo iniba ko yung chord progression, pero it is just a basic 251 and then circle of fifths of 3-6-2-5. Despite it being a rushed song, out of all of the songs that I've put out, it surprised me because it did better than all of the other songs. Kasi if you guys didn't know, this song My Could Have Been, siya yung huling nilabas bago nilabas yung EP. So nauna si Miss Suzy and then Only One in Love, and then nilabas si My Could Have Been and then the EP. And then My Could Have Been just did so much better despite the fact na mas pinag-isipan ko si Miss Suzy and Only One in Love. Kasi maraming beses talagang nag-overthink ako sa sinusulat ko, not realizing how much it'll stick if I just went with my guts. Kasi what my gut says is what I'm hearing basically sa utak ko. And what you're hearing in your mind is, I guess, much easier to gravitate to rather than something that you formulated with all of these ideas na parang binabato mo. I remember nung time na to, nung sinulat ko yung Back in Time, I learned how to play She Was Mine by AJ Rafael and Jessie Barrera. I learned how to play it on the guitar, and that's why ganun ako tumugtog ng gitara nung sinulat ko yung Back in Time. When I sent the demo for My Could Have Been, I played it the same way, and I imagined the arrangement to be kind of like the same sa She Was Mine. And if you listen, sobrang similar niya. I'm not really ashamed of that kasi when it comes to writing music, si AJ Rafael, malaki talaga ang influence niya sa akin. I think last year or last year, nagdi-deep dive rin ako kay Jessie Barrera, and I really like his music, both of their music. I feel like it won't be a surprise if you hear a little bit of their DNAs sa music na sinusulat ko. My Could Have Been is just basically about wanting something, expecting it to be yours, and then in the end, hindi siya napunta sa'yo. I remember specifically having this feeling nung nag-apply ako sa UP Conservatory. Hindi naman ako marunong, di ba? Nag-apply ako noon, nag-aral ako ng solfege. I wasn't skilled enough to read sheet music fast enough, but I studied enough to be able to pass the solfege exam and the written exam as well. The only thing left for me to pass was the interview. And I didn't know any better. That was the first time akong in-interview sa ganun. I didn't know what I was saying and I butchered it and then I didn't get in. And it was the first time na umiyak ako. Something school-related. It was really heartbreaking for me. And that was my Could Have Been. Grabe, nagfa-fantasize na akong nag-aaral ng music sa UP nag-aaral, di ba? My parents were celebrating as well kasi if ever daw na makapasok ako doon, ako yung unang UP student ng pamilya namin. It's a big deal kasi di ba UP is well-renowned. Tapos makakapasok pa ako doon, tas libre. Kasi ang gusto ko talagang aralin nung college ako is music. Music talaga yung gusto kong aralin. IT was my second option and then third was education, English education. My only option was UP kasi the other options was UST, I think, tas Binild for music. Pero we didn't really have money for college, so ang pwede ko lang pasukan is yung mga libre. Public university, Philippine University. Natatandaan ko nag-upcut ako. I didn't pass for music or IT. And I only passed for music education sa UP Los Baños, and we didn't really have enough funds to get me a place sa Los Baños. Tapos yung isa pang pinag-examan ko was PUP. And nakapasa ako sa PUP for IT. Doon na ako nagsettle and tinamad na akong mag-exam sa ibang mga school. Nag-register rin ako sa PLM pero I didn't bother taking the exam kasi tinamad na ako. And I settled for, I guess not settled, it's still a big achievement na makapasok sa PUP. Both of my parents studied sa PUP, so I had that parang connection sa kanila in that way sa school. So ayun, I went to PUP for IT. And then when COVID hit, one of my classmates, she told me na she was gonna try out for UP Conservatory. There was a separate exam for their music conservatory thing besides yung upcat. Tas ayun nga, I passed but failed. Weirdly enough, a small segment of me ranting about that experience. That was really heartbreaking. So again, as I mentioned, yung arrangement, it's very reminiscent of how She Was Mine was made. Although I'm not as good of a piano player as AJ Raphael is, although I tried to compensate, pero the chords is just a basic 2-5-1 for the verse and then a 6. And then the
second half of the
chorus just goes from the 2-5-3-6, which is very reminiscent of She Was Mine because I really love that song. Up until today, pinapakinggan ko pa rin yung kanta na yun. And I remember there was a time na kino-cover rin namin yun ng band sa mga sets namin because it's a very good song. I feel like it should be more popular than it is right now. I love the song, and I'm really happy with My Could Have Been because it got more popular than I expected it to. But anyways, yung EP na to is out. If you guys have time, if you guys want to support us, pakinggan nyo. We're really proud of it. Me and my band really worked hard. Tapos yung producers din namin, si Sir Darwin, our manager and basically the owner of Soupstar, and si Ate E, which is the vocalist of Grace Note. We have a little piece of our artistic souls dito sa project na to. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys listen to the EP as well. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day or evening or afternoon. Thank you very much for clicking.
Hahamunin, di ako magpapapilit. Panahon pa naman ay sobrang init. Kung ako sa'yo titigil na sa hirit, at baka kurutin kita sa sirit. Hindi mo yata paalam, parang benten mga aliens sa kalam. Kahit gawa ng paraan, pag nitricks ko to, di ko to papahiram. Kapag nagmerienda na ako, di matatalo. Lalo na pag nag-fishball at halo-halo. Pero busog pa ako kaya't sandali lang at ayoko mabuli.